Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. World leaders to visit Trinidad and Tobago next week. A call to regional leaders to change the approach in educating its people. And a national innovation policy is in the works. Thank you for joining us. The Minister of Communications says this is a historic time for Trinidad and Tobago as the Vice President of the United States and the President of the People's Republic of China will visit this country a few days apart.
Trinidad and Tobago will receive two world leaders in a matter of days. On Thursday, Minister of Communications, the Honorable Jamal Mohammed, revealed that the Vice President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, and his wife will arrive on an official two-day state visit, followed by the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping.
As you know, arrangements have been confirmed and finalized for two special visits here in Trinidad and Tobago. First of all, on Monday, the 27th of May, the Vice President of the United States of America and his wife will be in Trinidad and Tobago on a formal state visit on the 27th and 28th of May. That's a matter of days away. And then a few days after that, the President of China will be visiting Trinidad and Tobago for 2 days from the 31st of May to the 2nd of June 2013, and we shall be giving you further details of that visit later on. But to let you know, these are some very special times here in Trinidad and Tobago, and the people of Trinidad and Tobago are asked to take note of what is happening in our countries.
The U.S. Vice President's visit is aimed at improving relations and cooperation with Trinidad and Tobago and CARICOM leaders. Meanwhile, the visit of the Chinese president is part of what experts have called China's outreach to developing and developed nations as a new brand of all-directional diplomacy from the emerging global leader. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Tertiary Education and Skills Training Minister, the Honorable Fazal Karim, has issued a call to regional leaders to change the approach in educating its people and move towards the non-traditional areas. The minister made the comments during his address to members of CARICOM's Council for Human and Social Development COSOD meeting held in Guyana.
Council for Human and Social Development COSOD 2013 will focus on the Caribbean region's education and culture. The annual conference, which takes place in Georgetown, Guyana between May 23rd and 24th, will see regional ministers gather and discuss the way forward in the areas of sport, youth, culture and education. In his address aired during the two-day conference, Tertiary Education and Skills Training Minister Fazal Karim says there's a need to develop all areas of skills and harness the fullest potential of our people as a region. In highlighting this, the minister says the Caribbean's uniqueness was something yet to be developed in the skills area and called on his counterparts to join in this reformation approach to the education system.
The need to develop the students not only in technical and academic areas, but in all areas of their lives as citizens of the Caribbean community is very critical. The profile of the ideal Caribbean person provides an excellent working template to focus our education and cultural systems on the desired outcomes. Approaches to reforming education systems, however, need to be holistic and system-wide. The need for development of creative and innovative capacity does not rest with the ways in which children and young people are educated in institutions and the skills teachers need to acquire before teaching. Our policy and administrative systems themselves need to be reviewed and to become creative and innovative in addressing not only student and teacher performance, but the ways of dealing with the other myriad challenges that face our schools, our communities, and our countries, and indeed the region.
Minister Karim calls on regional leaders to change the approach in framing the education system that has long been used within the region toward developing the skills training in non-traditional areas such as creativity and innovation. He notes this is what will make students from the region stand out and succeed above the rest.
The Caribbean is usually regarded as a region of great creativity, especially so in the visual and performing arts. Have we made good use of this endowment? Have we nurtured it in successive generations? What are the current trends in our education landscape with regard to the arts and the focus that is given to it in our schools? Diminishing attention to the development of creative imagination will diminish our cultural pursuits as who we are as a Caribbean people. We cannot, in my view, continue to support the traditional mode of curriculum overload at the expense of other areas such as sport, music, drama, which our young people already possess exceptional talents in, and intelligence.
The minister suggested a shift in science and technology as a key to unlocking the region's development.
Such discussions should also focus on the development of science and technology within this new paradigm of cultural innovation. Strategic actions like these will only strengthen our development, but this can only open as well through collaboration within the region and beyond, leveraging our strategic partnerships around the world.
Meanwhile, the minister has revealed plans to introduce a program called Learn TT, an online learning portal.
Trinidad and Tobago is soon to launch Learn TT, a national knowledge platform to make learning central to our learning culture. Our post-secondary education must develop into online learning and made available as freely as possible. This platform will not only support Trinidad and Tobago, but we will make this available through the CKLN, the Caribbean Knowledge and Learning Network, to all our partner countries. We have already launched our TT Research and Education Network, TT-REN, to support this, and later this year, we'll start the online delivery of programs that will be developed locally.
This year's gathering is the 24th of its kind and has been themed Fostering Innovation through Education and Culture. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
When we come back, the National Innovation Policy. Stay with us. Welcome back. Government is in the midst of developing a national innovation policy and will soon finalize a new national information and communication technology plan. Finance and the Economy Minister, the Honorable Larry Hawai, made the announcement at the launch of the TSL Group's Technology Exhibition 2013.
Minister of Finance and the Economy Larry Hawai explained that government has set out to develop a national innovation policy which is being headed by the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development. The minister noted that Trinidad and Tobago currently ranks at 84 out of 144 countries on the 2012 to 2013 Global Competitiveness Index, while the U.S. is in 7th position.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago is keenly aware of the need to calibrate our economy toward innovation, as well as building capital to drive technology. Our public sector investment program makes significant provisions for innovation and competitiveness. In 2012, public investment in improving knowledge intensity and diversification of the economy amounted to $3 billion, essentially comprising half of the value of that year's public sector investment program.
He noted that a country's rank is determined by several factors, including macroeconomic environment, which encompasses the macroeconomic governance elements pertaining to prices and consumption. Trinidad and Tobago ranks at 19 in this category, outranking countries like the UK, Germany, Norway, and Finland.
For the period 2013 to 2015, the government will invest over $8 billion on the strategic priority of economic growth, job creation, competitiveness, and innovation, amounting to 35.7% of public investment over the period. The national budget this year makes the largest allocation to education and training, over $9 billion. It is disturbing that notwithstanding this large investment, we have yet to see new ideas forthcoming.
Minister Hawai added that government will finalize and implement the new ICT plan for 2012 to 2016.
Expansion of ICT application is critical to the dissemination and refinement of ideas that characterize modern methods of innovation.
The Minister of Finance and Economy, Larry Hawai, said, in the category of innovation, Trinidad and Tobago ranks at 104, despite a 2012 public investment of $3 billion toward improving knowledge intensity and diversification of the economy, and an investment of $8 billion on strategic priority of economic growth, job creation, competitiveness and innovation. 35.7% of public investment for the 2013 to 2015 period. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
A significant milestone in the effort to promote micro and small enterprise development in Trinidad and Tobago has been reached. This as a NEDCO sub-office at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, was commissioned.
Cognizant of the fact that traditionally, regional institutions of higher learning and research, such as the University of the West Indies, have played a key role in facilitating the development of the Caribbean's intellectual capital, this nexus between entrepreneurship and academia augurs well for the future of Trinidad and Tobago.
We saw the UWI with its staff, students, and facilities being a central hub of ideas, creativity, and innovation, and NEDCO, an institution whose mandate it is to develop and nurture businesses throughout Trinidad and Tobago, as a very winning combination and formula. And that is why we're gathered here today, to advance that MOU that was signed and to show that we are implementing what we said we would want to do.
Professor Clement Sankett says a few short months ago, after signing a Memorandum of Understanding MOU between NEDCO, they now see the expression of commitment of UWI and NEDCO transforming intent into reality.
So today we are here to deliver on a promise in our MOU. That is that NEDCO will establish a physical presence here on the UWI St. Augustine campus. And we decided to have this office in the hub of our student activity, in the middle of our student activity center, deliberately, because we want this office to truly connect with our students and our graduates. This office must be an intelligent office that is seeking to gather from our creative students their ideas, their wishes, and their hopes for becoming entrepreneurs.
He says this endeavor opens up a very large and exciting doorway for further growth, utilizing an area that has remained insufficiently tapped. Also delivering remarks at the event, Minister of Tertiary Education and Skill Training, Fazal Karim, says the opening of the NEDCO's sub-office is also closely linked to the ministry's broader vision for the strengthening of MSEs as a competitive sector with potential to shape the country's socio-economic development.
The principle and the philosophy of the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training into building the brains, unleashing the human potential. That's what we are here about. We cannot wait only for wage employment. We have to ensure that entrepreneurship moves from rhetoric to reality, from the talk to the walk, from the idea to the ingenuity, to the creation of business opportunity.
Some of the proposals emanating from the launch and the ensuring activities that will benefit interested students and recent graduates include NEDCO's provision of loan financing and other support services to interested qualifying UWI students and graduates, and the establishment of a virtual library to provide entrepreneurial resources to UWI students. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
When we come back, the sports report with Wayne Cunningham. Stay with us. The Civilian Conservation Corps' 9-mile endurance relay was recently contested from the Macrib Car Park to the Tetron Regiment Barracks in Chaguaramas. Here are some of the highlights from this unique event.
Of the Civilian Conservation Corps are Northeast, North Central, Northwest, Central, Southwest, South Central, Southeast, and Tobago. 9 trainees from each region made up the teams which participated in the Corps' endurance relay. The race started at the Macrib Car Park with a running leg, but other stages included a cycling leg as well as a 20-pound weighted leg. Midway through the course, Tobago had a slim lead over Southwest. the time the runners reached the changeover at Shackville, Southwest seemed firmly in control. By the time the baton reached the weighted runners, it was South Central in the lead.
Off you go. You can run past it now.
They could not maintain that lead though. Reaching the finish line first was Southwest, as Warrant Officer Nicole Cristo of the Defense Force waited to confirm the winners, but she would have to wait a little longer until after the celebrations. The warrant officer praised all for their participation in the unique event.
We appreciate each and every runner who took part here. Every coach, every trainer, every single team commander, every single individual who took some sort of consideration into preparing the athletes for today's event. So we want to say thank you and our heartfelt appreciation to every single person who had anything to do with this event. In doing so, we must recognize all the trainees for participating here today.
Southwest taking the CCC's endurance relay with South Central in second and Northwest in third. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
News 4 continues after the break. A soft approach, that's how Dr. the Honorable Glenn Ramadan Singh, Minister of the People and Social Development, is describing the project his ministry is spearheading to remove street dwellers. In the latest exercise, the minister says this method involves requesting of the socially displaced persons whether they are willing to enter the rehabilitation process and transform their lives. The minister, along with members of his interagency unit, visited the streets of the capital city on Wednesday and picked up over 32 persons.
Steps to eradicate persons living on the streets of Port of Spain have once again commenced. This as the Ministry of the People came out during the wee hours of Wednesday morning, together with a team of medical doctors and trained psychiatric personnel, in an effort to pick them up and lead them to a life of rehabilitation. The Interagency Task Force, which falls under the ministry, together with the Minister of People, Dr. Glenn Ramadan Singh, led the exercise, which resulted in over 32 street dwellers coming forward willingly. Speaking ahead of the exercise, the minister says the program will provide the necessary means for persons looking to change their lives and get a fresh start at life.
Some of them have been able to find home, employment, and transitional dwelling, which has given us some space now where we can now go back out in what is the second phase of the project. The first group of clients who have graduated and continue moving up the empowerment ladder have made space now for those who we are prepared to treat with. Our goal is in the next 3 months is to remove 40 more clients from the streets. Thus far, 150 persons will be successfully removed from the streets of Port of Spain. The clients are guided to their respective quarters, and arrangements are made for them to have mandatory testing for TB through the MAN2 test within 48 hours. It is first a soft approach where clients are asked about their willingness to be removed from the streets and the processes involved in rehabilitation I explained. Once the client agrees, they are admitted to the TLM, the Transform Life Ministries, their photographs are taken, and they become part of the leave history because it's a registry, but we really want them to leave the streets. So it's called a leave history. They are then interviewed by the mental health officer, social worker, and medical doctor. The assessment is conducted, and then we confirm that the client can be admitted.
The minister noted the success of the 4-month-old project, which he notes has resulted in the intervention of over 140 lives. He adds that so far 17 persons have gone on to higher level training after the rehabilitation process, enabling them to be more self-sufficient in life. Minister Ramadar Singh says while this represents the end of the pilot project, companies will now be invited to spearhead the execution of the program.
The requests for proposals for NGOs and organizations involved in this kind of work to own the zones, the 5 zones which will be in Port of Spain, will soon be out in the newspapers to invite service providers to man these zones in collaboration with the interagency unit. We are also beginning to move out of Port of Spain because we are coming to the end of the pilot project and we are going to begin the implementation project before the end of June. So this is the beginning of the second cycle, but coming to the end of the pilot project where we will begin the implementation phase just about the 30th of June.
While the problem exists across the country in almost every town and community, Minister Ramadar Singh says collaborative efforts have commenced with the relevant local government authorities.
We are proud to begin the second phase. This is a program that is only 4 months old, but reaping high success. But we cannot do it alone. And so, on Thursday at 9 a.m., we invited all the mayors throughout Trinidad and Tobago to begin joining us every week so that we create a grand stakeholder participation in the whole activity of reforming, reintegrating, and bringing back members of society into productive activity.
One person picked up during the course of the exercise had been a victim of abuse. He was taken in for further care and treatment.
Pick up one guy here who was willing to actually leave, and as you can see, he was not in the best state of health, apparently, and also a victim of burns, which I understand that sometimes when people don't want them on the street, they try to deter them by throwing hot water and that kind of thing, and that's how they keep getting burned. So he seems to have been recovering in one of the health facilities and left. He came back onto the street. We're hoping that we'll be able to have some success with him.
The program is expected to continue over the next 4 months, removing at least 40 more persons from the streets of the capital city, bringing the total to 150 persons since the commencement of the project. Kimberly Ram Kalawan, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.